Evening all, I'm Silverbolt, and this evening I'm going to be doing this. Transformers Takara Headmasters Collection. Now to those of you who don't know who Takara are, Takara took over the American show after it was cancelled after the first 3 episodes of Series 4, which was the Rebirth Parts 1, 2 and 3. Takara carried on Transformers and basically discounted the whole of Series 4. Series 4 didn't happen, pretty much, and they just took the characters from it and made their own TV show out of it. And they've actually done a very good job. It's quite a good series. It starts off anyway, and these warriors called the 4 Fearless Warriors show up on Earth, and they are Chrome Dome, Hardhead, Highbrow, and Brainstorm. Now they look pretty much identical to their American counterparts. The only real difference really is Brainstorm. In the American one, he's actually got a faceplate like Prime does, but in the Takara one, he doesn't have that at all. Okay, their characters are much more evolved in this one. Chrome Dome's the leader, and he's very much like Hot Rod is. He's very hot-headed, he's very impetuous. He's quite young, and he's pretty much the leader of the 4. They tend to follow where he goes. Okay, their leader of the 4 Fearless Guardians is Fortress Maximus, and in the Rebirth, Fortress Maximus, the head of Fortress Maximus is Cerebros, and the head of Cerebros is Spike. And now in the comics, Cerebros is a mindless automaton. He's not a Transformer at all. In Takara, they've cancelled him out completely, though Spike is still in there, though he's renamed Sparkle. Fortress Maximus is his own complete identity, and the city they fly in is his ship, which turns into the giant robot. Incidentally, the very first time you watch it, it has a remarkable resemblance to Voltron. It looks extraordinarily like Voltron, the way when you first see him with the big power saw and he's going ching, stuff like that. It looks very nice though when he first turns. The Decepticon headmasters are in there as well. Start off as only the 3: Weird Wolf, Mindwipe, and Skullcruncher. And the idea behind it is that they've discounted Nebulos entirely. There's no secondary operators to them. What it is they're Transformers that left Cybertron during the war and were forced to, and they were human-sized, but they were forced to make these giant war machines themselves that they became the heads to. Hence why it's Transformers Headmasters. So in actual fact, the bodies aren't proper Transformers themselves. They're just like war machines, similar in a way, I suppose, to Tech Warrior or that manga film not Gundam, Patlabor, where they were more linked into the machine than anything else. Okay, they're the 4 Fearless Warriors, and they're very much more powerful than the other Decepticons. The only one who really does outrank them amongst the Decepticons themselves, aside from the other Headmasters, is Sixshot. And Sixshot's quite an important character in this one. He's the ninja consultant to the Decepticons. Incidentally, to those of you who have watched a lot of the series 1 to 3, won't like some of the things that happen in Takara. For one, Prime dies in the 2nd episode, again. But this time he doesn't come back. He doesn't do a Jesus Christ in this one. He doesn't get resurrected. Hot Rod, Blur and Cup bugger off about a quarter of the way into the series. Cybertron, or Cyberton as it's called in the Takara, gets blown up, completely destroyed by the Decepticons for whatever reason, and then Rodimus basically decides that he's had enough and he buggers off and leaves pretty much the entirety of the fighting to the Earth Forces and the Headmasters. Now the Earth Forces are the Headmasters, and in pretty much the Decepticons as well, seem to be down to just the Headmasters themselves and the Combiners. But you never actually see the Combiners mentioned by name. You never see them mentioned by name in the whole of the series. The people that they're called, as in the groups that make the actual giant Jessel Combiners themselves, they're referred to occasionally. Raiden is called the Robot Train, and he's new to the Takara. He was never in the American version, and he's basically a train that forms one giant train and then forms a giant robot. And he's probably the strongest of all the Jessels. The Terracons are in there, but they're renamed the Reptile Regiment. And it's just things like that. And a lot of the time when you see the Jessels themselves, it's just simply, oh look, the Technobots will show up, or the Aerial Bots will show up, or the Constructicons will show up, and they'll merge into their respective combiners, and that's all. Okay. Animation-wise, the animation is very good. It's Japanese, so it tends to be better quality than its European or American counterparts. Anyway, the fighting is a lot more up close and personal. There's a lot more of fists flying and jumps in the air and kicks to the head and things like that in it. So that's quite a nice touch. It adds a bit more nitty-gritty realism to it. The fact that someone dies every 4 or 5 episodes is quite good. They've changed a lot of the main character names as well. Spike is for one. He's called Sparkle. Carly is renamed to Carrie. Blaster is Billy, but Blaster's a confusing one because the guy that's called Billy gets killed and then gets renamed when he's rebuilt into Blaster, and he's blue. The cassette robot animals talk. The first time you'll hear Ravage speaking or Steeljaw speaking, it's like, ugh! It is very strange in that regard as well. Quite a lot of key differences there. Character-wise, there's a lot of character development. Chrome Dome himself is quite a haunted character, for the simple fact that he's seen a lot in his time, probably more than his fair share. He actually has to kill one of his best friends at one point, so he's quite a haunted character. Two characters that keep popping up in the Takara collection every single episode that need to be severely wiped off the face of this planet is Danny and Wheelie. They are completely pointless characters. There is no point to them, and they are completely irrelevant, and they're just so irritating. Now, I've only watched it on the English because I can't be bothered to sit there and read English subtitles while listening to Japanese. Fuck that. So I put it on the English, and the Star TV people who do the English dubbing for the Headmasters, I've never seen an episode of Transformers in their life. It is truly diabolical dubbing. The worst dubbing you'll come across in pretty much anything, including the manga. For those who remember that ill-fated Guyver stuff. Though Guyver was a classic cartoon. But yeah, but Danny and Wheelie, oh, they are so irritating. They don't seem to do anything except get in the way, get into trouble, disobey orders, and cry or laugh. Six-Shot kills Ultra Magnus, and towards the end of it, Danny forgives him and starts calling him Uncle Six-Shot. It's like, what? He killed Ultra Magnus, a guy that every Autobot in the entire world respected more than anybody other than Prime, and you start calling him your Uncle Six-Shot. Yeah. But anyway, that's my main gripe about it. The series itself is very, very good. It's very well animated. It's quite nitty gritty. If you can ignore the terrible dialogue and mind wipes, mind distorting magical power stuff, it's a very good series if you get into it. The characters are very good. You'll see some ghosts in there, Ratchet's in there, Prowl's in there, Sideswipe's in there. All the ones that are supposed to be dead are all in there. So it does pretty much discount entirely what's happened since the rebirth. But it's a very good series. If you haven't got it, do go out and get it. Because it does complete any Transformers collection. And it continues the storyline. And let's face it, Japanese cartoons beat American ones, hands down, every single time. I mean, look at Japanese have things like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Gundam. We have things like SpongeBob SquarePants. Do the math. But yes, very good DVD collection. I do heartily recommend it. I'm going to start whacking it, because I'm going to break it. But yes, highly enjoyable. And despite the fact that I've seem to be very scatter-minded throughout this whole thing, so I think I might stick to doing my tour reviews in future for Transformers, unless I do review the other 3 series. But for now, this is Silverbolt, signing off, saying adios, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.